second day of lockdown in the capital of the European Union as Belgian security forces continue their search for several terror suspects, among them Salah Abdeslam, who is believed to have perpetrated one of the Paris attacks. The wave of terror against Israeli civilians washes over the West Bank. In the third of 4 attacks today, a 21-year-old Jewish woman is stabbed to death. And Russian-annexed Crimea remains in a state of emergency and complete darkness after power lines leading from the Ukraine are blown up. This as Ukrainians mark the second anniversary of the pro-Europe Maidan protests.
The News Today with David Matlin.
Hello and welcome to the News Today. I'm David Matlin here in the Jaffa Port of Israel. Well, Brussels remained on high alert today with armed troops patrolling the European Union capital amid what security officials described as a serious and imminent terror threat. Salah Abdeslam, wanted on suspected involvement in the Paris massacres, remains at large. He's believed to be in Belgium and planning further attacks. I-24 News military correspondent Shai Ben-Ari has the latest.
The Belgian capital of Brussels remained on lockdown Sunday, with officials warning that more than one terrorist was thought to be at large in the city.
We're
talking of a threat of several individuals with weapons and explosives to launch acts, maybe even in several places at once.
The Brussels subway remained closed, and residents were told not to gather in public. Salah Abdeslam, a member of the terror network that carried out the attacks in Paris on November 13th, is believed to be somewhere in Belgium. The Capital magazine quoted an unnamed friend of Salah's, saying the two met in Brussels' Molenbeek district last Tuesday, 4 days after the France attacks, in order to pass along a message to Abdesalam's family. The friend added that Salah had conceded he had, quote, gone too far, and warned the other man of being drawn into radical Islam. The acquaintance said Abdesalam could not give himself up for fear of reprisals against his family by the Islamic State.
There is no question of us giving any comment on the investigations that are ongoing, on the operations that are underway, for obvious reasons, for obvious security reasons.
It has emerged that Abdesalam was picked up by two friends in Paris around 5 a.m. on November 14th, after abandoning his vehicle in the 18th district. Interestingly, IS's statement claiming responsibility mentioned an attack in the 18th district, but none actually took place there. Authorities are not ruling out the possibility Abdesalam had a last-minute change of heart. Salah and his two friends drove back to Belgium, passing 3 police checkpoints on the way. Mohamed Amri and Hamza Atou were later arrested, but Abdesalam evaded capture. Atou's attorney said her client found Abdesalam extremely agitated and added he was carrying a, quote, big jacket and other things, possibly an explosive belt. It has also surfaced that Turkish authorities issued specific warnings earlier this year to authorities in Belgium and France concerning 2 of the Paris attackers, Salah's brother Ibrahim Abdeslam and Omar Ismail Mustafa, both of whom were linked by the Turks to IS.
Our coalition will not relent. We will not accept the idea that terrorist assaults on restaurants and theaters and hotels are the new normal, or that we are powerless to stop them. After all, that's precisely what terrorists like ISIL want.
While determination is certainly needed to win this fight, there are also increasing calls for a more effective collaboration and information sharing mechanism between Western nations dedicated to combating the threat of jihadist militants.
Well, now we go to Paris with freelance journalist Rina Bassiste. Thank you very much for being with us. If you can give us an idea for the atmosphere in Paris now, 1 week after these deadly attacks.
Yes, good evening, David. I'm standing here, as you can see, at Place de la République, not far away from the Bataclan. Hundreds of people are gathered here this evening. They have been coming here ever since the attacks on November 13. They are lighting candles, they are putting down flowers, they are putting down little notes saying "Même pas peur," we are not afraid, or little notes saying "Nous sommes tous unis," we are all together, all united. So the atmosphere here, at least, Place de la République, is a very calm atmosphere of praying. Some people are singing, and mostly people want to feel together at this moment.
Are you feeling that unity in the city? I mean, is this, obviously people are afraid to go out and about, but are you feeling that these crowds are growing slowly?
definitely visiting either the big shopping malls today, be it Galeries Lafayette, Le Printemps, Fnac, the market, the Sunday market at Place de la Bastille. Very few people are actually going out. So the atmosphere in other parts of the city, in more usually crowded parts of the city, is very much different than the atmosphere that you might be seeing here in the background. So people are either afraid to go to these crowded places, or simply they are just in the mood. They are sad, they are feeling sorrow, they are not in the mood for any Christmas shopping, they are not in the mood to go to these to the big shopping malls. They are not even in the mood of visiting the annual Christmas market at the Champs-Élysées, which opened yesterday.
Well, thank you very much, Rina Bassiste in Paris. Now we go to Belgium here. Belgian businessman, Claude Candioti joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us. If you can give us an idea for the atmosphere there in Brussels, where you're located. We understand that basically it's like martial law. Everything's been shut down, from the metro to the shopping centers. And what's the atmosphere?
Yes, atmosphere at this stage is extremely heavy. There was a decision which was made a couple of minutes ago where the government decided to prorogate the state of emergency and to leave the emergency level at its highest, which is level 4, meaning that tomorrow every school and most of public transport will be shut down. Therefore, the city remains shut down, and we just saw a very grave, very, very tired Prime Minister and his cabinet coming to announce something which is actually a first. We didn't even have a situation as such during the Second World War. Something is clearly happening, and I think that we will have some developments happening in Brussels during the night, overnight, but the atmosphere is extremely heavy at this stage.
Now, we understand that Brussels is obviously locked down, but what about the rest of the country now? Are we seeing similar security measures in smaller towns as well?
First of all, the rest of the country is at level 3, which is a high level, which means that there might be an attack, but not level 4, where they know that there is an imminent attack on the way. So no, the situation is very different. Brussels is clearly in a kind of a lockdown. Tomorrow, for example, people are supposed to go to work. We know that there will not be public transport in Brussels, so most offices will probably remain closed. And we are talking here not only about the capital of Belgium, but this is the capital of Europe. This is the main seat of NATO. And tomorrow is going to be a very strange day for Europe. This is a new reality. But I have to add one thing. What is happening is, you can view it as the terrorists won in a sense, but no. Actually, I think that what the government is doing, the Belgian government, is quite bold, because they are taking responsibility, saying we need to focus all our forces on finding those terrorists and eradicating them. And therefore, we cannot manage at the same time. We do not have enough manpower to secure all the sites, all the schools, all the theaters, all the cafes, and at the same time, hunt them down. So to be sure that we can protect you, we ask you to remain in your homes. And I think that this is quite bold and quite a good way of approaching things.
Well, thank you very much, Claude Candioti here, joining us from Brussels in Belgium. Now we're joined in the studio by Amir Oren, defense and government analyst for Haaretz, and Shai Ben-Ari, our military correspondent here. Thank you both for being with us here. Amir, what do you make of the latest coming out of Brussels? This is certainly an unusual scene to see troops in the streets here. As he mentioned just now, this is the seat of the European Union. What's your impression?
Well, very familiar sites, Louise, Schuman, all of these places in the heart of Brussels, usually teeming with diplomats, other officials and passers-by, now vacant. This cannot go on for long. The meaning is, the significance is, that one terrorist or perhaps a very small cell can shut down such a major city for who knows how long, because if they had a plan to attack tomorrow, now they will just wait out the authorities, and eventually the alert must go down, and then they will attack. It takes a division of troops, thousands of soldiers, to lock down such a city. but a lone terrorist, and what we saw in Israel last night, a lone terrorist shut down the town of Kiryat Gat, 50,000 people, while the police were out looking for him. So this is impossible. They will have to go on the offense. And as you showed in the report, when President Obama spoke about it, the operative word is coalition. There will be a grand coalition, American, French, Russian, maybe even the Chinese, all the rest. They will go out on the offense in order to eradicate ISIS.
Shai, what's the latest now from this manhunt now after this fugitive?
Right, you know, we're talking about Salah Abdeslam, and there have been a lot of questions raised over his specific role. We know that he was driving a car on the night of the attacks. He basically, he was in that car with him was his brother and another man. He dropped off his brother Ibrahim at the Comptoir Voltaire Cafe, where he proceeded to blow himself up. Then Salah continued to the 18th district, where he abandoned his car, which is very interesting. And it appears that there was perhaps some sort of attack planned for that area, but none indeed took place. And the assessment of some of the investigators looking into this case is that perhaps he changed his mind and made a bolt for the border. We know that he showed up at the border alongside two other men. And we also know that in that car, the one that he abandoned, was another man who police are still looking for. He is the so-called ninth attacker. There's no identity out there so far for that ninth attacker. He was also thought to be in that vehicle. It's doubtful that he also reached Belgium. He is not among the two accomplices who were in Abdesalam's car at the border. That was another car, so it gets a little complicated. But Abdesalam himself is thought to be in Belgium. And we're talking about a very serious situation. This has all sorts of ramifications when you talk about the fact that tomorrow, Monday, that is no longer the weekend. And that is a big thing. It's very significant that EU institutions, who, by the way, the Prime Minister of Belgium has communicated the details of the threat to these institutions, they will apparently be closed tomorrow.
And we'll see how that develops as well. Amir, what do we make of the French military now as we talk about a military that's already deployed against the Islamic State in the Middle East? Could we be waiting now to see a next step by the French military?
Yes, we should see further steps because priorities have changed. Yes, they have a deployment in Mali, and we saw how current that threat is. But they will now have to reinforce their forces in the Middle East. They have the Foreign Legion, they have paratroops, they have special forces, along with other NATO forces. They don't have a choice. They will have to reorganize them. What are needed? The ingredients are capability, planning, including intelligence, will, this is most important, and then execution. It takes some time, but certainly in a few weeks' time, we will see them go on the offensive.
Thank you very much, Amir Oren, defense and government analyst for Haaretz. Shai Ben-Ari staying with us here for a moment.